Hey, here we are. We got Marcus here already, JD, Stevie B. What's going on, guys? Alec will not be with us tonight. He had something personal to do this evening, so he had to take a break.
He'd had enough.
But I did get John back. I did get John back again with no taco truck. I don't know if
I'm here for snappy comebacks if needed.
What's that?
I'm here with snappy comebacks if needed.
Yeah, well, I mean, a taco truck would still
ribs,
be nice,
man.
We came in eighth
out of how many?
24.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
I was pissed.
Those ribs were gorgeous.
I punched a wall.
Yeah, you'll have to throw a picture up at some point, Kyle, because I have not seen the picture of the. Yeah, but I did see that you were. I think you put it on Facebook that you were at some sort of barbecue contest thingy or something like that.
Yeah,
I did see that.
It was next door to the Roush Racing Museum.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, that's what I saw. Yes, you went to the racing museum. That's exactly what I see.
Chairs in the way of the floor.
We'll take care of it, Vanna. So Ron's in the house. Dwayne's a pain. What's going on, guys? Marcus, thank you. I had Vanna take care of it. The not so lovely Vanna White.
The not so lovely. Is there an opposite for lovely?
Yeah, but I couldn't think of the word. Thanks for joining us. So we got new comic book day. So
we do have new comic book day.
I know John always wants to talk about new comic book day.
Well, I mean,
even though he blew us off on Monday.
I'm sorry, but when the check doesn't clear, I can't be here.
It's not my department. So
we had today's. I think it's a good without. I mean, maybe next week Alec can weigh in. I'm curious. It was kind of like a mixed new comic book day today. Dynamite, of course, had two really good drops. Red Sonja number 7, which is really starting to find that, that full. Thanks, Lars, man. It's that full Metal Jacket type storytelling here. Right. Red Sonja is just. I mean, Mirko and Adolfo. I don't have to say a whole lot more. The guy knows his trade. And then we did Barbarella. And I've had a couple people say to me, "Oh, it seems like I'm a little bit down on Barbarella or whatever." First of all, absolutely no, I'm not. To clarify what I said, Barbarella does not have the profile in American pop comic book sci-fi culture that things like Vampirella does, that things like Red Sonja does. Barbarella is essentially a French-European sci-fi property. That being said, Sarah Hoyt has just done this great job of harnessing that energy and sort of, massaging it for a more American audience. Today's issue of Barbarella was just great, super timely, discussing different issues. And then, of course, there's always the great action running through the spaceport, people getting punched in the face. I mean, those things are not easy to do. Sarah said in the previous interview about how she wanted to sort of make it topical and timely, but not terrible. It was a great turn of phrase. And I think she's done that really, really well. This week's cover, we had, as always, we have a ton of these covers. And, we'll kind of get through it throughout the show. Trade dress, different artists. This week's cosplay cover was Rachel Holland. And I don't know who holds the record for cosplays, but she's done a lot of cosplays for Dynamite. I have to go back and look. Hey, John, thank you, sir.
John Spilios in the house. Joel, what's going on? Lars, man, hey, buddy.
Rachel just does this really, really good. We'll try to get a picture of it up a little bit later. She did just, you know what I mean? She really kind of captured Barbarella in a great way. And then we had Sapphire Nova, who's a cosplayer. People probably know her more on Instagram than anything else. And she did a great Red Sonja this week. Like I said, Red Sonja's at the point of the story arc now where they have to gear down a little bit to kind of tell enough story to connect the audience. Right. It can't be, as entertaining as it is. And I think Gail Simone had said this years ago. It can't be Red Sonja cut somebody's head off every episode, every panel of every issue. Right. Because that's just, today they kind of did like a real sort of like geared down more storytelling, against the backdrop of violence. And I just thought that worked really well. I was super, I was super impressed with that. We had some other really good things today come out. New Comic Book Day too. A new book for Stranger Things came out. It's Stranger Things, and I can't remember what the name. There's like a subtitle for it, and I'm gonna butcher this because it's like a Russian word. Kamchatka. Very cool, sort of. They're expanding the Stranger Things universe. Stranger Things is one of those books like James Bond,
right,
where Dynamite really kind of fleshes out the world of James Bond. Like the movies just show us the highlights. Dynamite kind of shows us the existence of James Bond. We've got stuff from start to the finish. And I think that's what they're trying to do with Stranger Things. It's a great property to do it with. I think that's Dark Horse that's doing Stranger Things. Let me just triple check real quick. Yeah, it's Dark Horse that's doing Stranger Things. That's a book absolutely I would consider picking up. There's a few other things from Marvel DC that came out this week that, a lot of the stuff that came out this week is like, when I say middle of the road, I don't mean like mid or mediocre. I mean, they're in the middle of the story arcs. And everybody knows the books start high and end high, and you kind of have the arc in the middle.
Right.
So I heard some people, different Facebook groups, Twitter groups this week talking about, it's kind of a slow week. It's kind of a slow week. Not really. You kind of need that. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if it's Dynamite. It doesn't matter who's, you know what I mean?
There are two number ones.
Telling the story.
There are two number ones that are worth mentioning from Dark Horse, though. You have Count Crowley, Amateur Midnight Monster Hunter.
I was just going to get to that.
That's David Desmalchin, who played Polka Dot Man in Suicide Squad. He's writing it. He did an amazing promo. You can see it on YouTube. And we've shown it on a couple of shows here. And then they also have We Have Demons, which originally came out from Comixology Originals, but in their partnership with Dark Horse is now in print in stores by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. And it's great. The art is Greg Capullo, and I'm gonna forget who inked it, but it is just absolutely insane. And if Nick can hear me, he should buy as many pages of it as he can. Just throwing it out.
I don't know if he's watching or not. I assume he's watching, but
just
he may have
it out there. I would invest in this book.
I haven't seen it, but is the Dark Horse book because Comixology, like I've read it through Comixology Unlimited, right?
It's the same book, it's just printed.
Oh, it's 3 issues? Is that right?
4.
4 issues?
So Marcus says they showed pics from the upcoming season of Stranger Things, and all the kids look old. I think that's kind of the danger when you're doing a show with kids in that age group is they grow really fast.
Yeah, that's always the thing. The
like,
difference between 14 and 18 is...
Yeah, it's huge. So, the only way you could really do it is to shoot 2 seasons at once. But if it's something new, you don't know if it's going to take hold. You don't want to, you don't want to end up doing it.
I read one of the comics said 11 is now 20. So, it's, you know what I mean? Like, she looks like...
Right. So, it's hard to do. So, all
Same
right.
problem they had with the Harry Potter kids.
What's that?
Same problem they had with the Harry Potter kids.
They did, but at least
Harry Potter's like 29 and like a
right,
senior
but
in high
at least
school. Like,
the way that movie progression went, they were supposed to get older anyway. So that kind of worked out. But all right, so let's start like we always do. We got the Dynamite 10-pack reader set. Each book will have a cover price of $3.99 or higher. It is 10 random books, so a suggested retail of $40 plus. And as always, a thank you to our viewers. We have it available for $5, so that is 50 cents an issue. All right, and then let's get to our best offer books so that we can give everybody enough time. So the first one is G.I. Joe #1, signed in silver by Fred Van Lente. Suggested retail of $89.99. It is our best offer book of the night, starting at $10. And anybody that has never actually claimed anything on our show, we have 2 types of claims. One is a buy it now. We'll throw up a price, and the first person to claim it on the chats walks away with it. And then we have best offer at the end of the night, and we'll throw out a starting price. And as people claim it through the show, at $7.55, we'll end it. We'll throw up a end line. Kyle will let us know as we get closer. All right, Lars, man, got you, buddy.
Oh, cool. I'm glad you did that, Stevie B. We mentioned Cloak a little while back, and that's a great book. I'm really glad to see people picking that up. I had someone message me on Facebook telling me that they picked that up too, and they're like, "Oh, why am I not hearing more about this?" Honestly, I don't know why you don't hear more about certain books. I mean, yeah, obviously, publishers will put more promo, more push, to use a pro wrestling term, behind certain books. Cloaked is great. Cloaked is the kind of thing I would like to see like in an animated format. I recommend everybody check that out.
I wonder if Mike Richardson wasn't a little hesitant to promote Cloak because as the publisher, he'd be promoting the book he wrote, and he made a terrible mistake in doing that. Like,
you know what? That's probably a really good point.
I wonder if that was some false modesty on his part.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? That would not surprise me at all. Even, that would not surprise me at all.
Right.
I mean, Dark Horse, I've talked about this on a comics podcast a couple of years ago. As much as I love Dynamite, I've been reading it for 18 years now. Dark Horse still, to a certain extent, does not get the full credit they deserve for becoming that sort of definitive off-brand. You know what I mean? They found their own homegrown talent, so to speak. Yeah, I get it. Image started with a ton of Marvel guys.
Right.
Let's be honest. So is it homegrown? You know what I mean? Dark Horse is finding guys and properties that, were not in the big two. And now we're almost, 30 years later?
Right.
There's a bunch of small publishers who are kind of taking that route now. Like,
yes.
You have a company like Ahoy Comics who the people who are working there are big names, but they're big names who have been cast off by the big two or who have an idea that they could never pitch to the big two. Gail Simone writing weird teenage superheroes that, stuff like that that's never going to work anywhere else.
So Adrian says the other indie he recommends is Pentagram of Horror #1 from Scout. Amazing art and good horror.
Scout has a ton of monster horror. Scout has a ton of great horror right now. And we have Scout creators every Monday night with Miss Jen on her Talking Shop show. And every week they pitch us a new horror book that's coming out that's just like, oh, I was not prepared to have literally the bejesus scared out of me.
So John Spilios in the house. What's going on, buddy? AR actually had to take the night off. He had some personal stuff he had to take care of tonight. So so his sorry replacement is John.
Yeah, right. Yikes, that's a huge downgrade from out. The other book I wanted to mention real quick, just throw it out there. I'm pretty sure it came out this week. I haven't read it yet, but it seems like the kind of people are going to want to know about this. I think that the Godzilla Power Rangers
It came out
today.
Yeah.
I read it. It's wild.
Oh, did it come out today? I remember people, when they first announced this thing, people were talking about it. And then it's one of those things that sort of slipped my mind a little bit.
Right.
And then today, when I was kind of looking at the new comics and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, very cool.
So if you read it, it's like, if you ask an author or a writer, hey, if you could take one IP and do whatever you want with it, what would you do? It's like Cullen Bunn said to them, I want Godzilla and the Power Rangers. And they're like, yeah, okay, Cullen Bunn. And he's like, all right, I'm going to really mess with everybody. And then he did. And it's fabulous. And the art on it is just incredible. It's all painted.
Oh, wow.
Adrian says it was sold out.
It was sold out. And John says it's a great wild read. Yeah, this is one of those new comic book days where you kind of had to look a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you had a ton of books, including stuff from Dynamite, where it's like the middle of the story arc. So it's not insanely flashy. It's not issue 1. It's not the final issue. You know what I mean? And I think now you've got people that are a little bit conditioned to, they're just looking for the high spots,
right,
so to speak, of books. But this week there were some very cool, and we were mentioning Comixology Unlimited. They had another book by, I guess, Scott Snyder called Night of the Ghoul. And to kind of play on what Kyle said, I did not expect to have, the bejesus scared out of me by that book. You know what I mean? I love the whole sort of old, that kind of throwback cinema era or whatever. I'm a huge London After Midnight guy. This thing pulled a lot of that energy from the beginning of cinema and horror. Just
I thought the only thing that scared the bejesus out of you is if somebody tried to pass off Elio's Pizza at a catering event.
That's just dirty. But hey, can I do that?
Elio's Pizza makes great bread for toaster sandwiches.
I think you mentioned that before.
I've said this before.
I think you mentioned
used
that before.
it at a pop-up that we did. The guy had we did it for charity, and the guy had, when I say he didn't have a case, he had like a pallet of Elio's. That's what he was using his bar pizza, and we decided to use it as bread for provolone, salami, hot cherry peppers, and we kind of put them in these things. People love these sandwiches. They're like, "What bread is this?" And I'm like, "Bread."
Don't worry about it. Just eat. All right. So next
Real
book
quick.
up. Go ahead.
And just to promote something that we're going to sell later, there is a new Wolverine book out this week, Wolverine Patch #1 from Marvel, that's reinvestigating that kind of suave, debonair Wolverine that was Patch from Wolverine Volume 2. It was a fun read, especially if you like Wolverine, but you don't like Logan.
That's our next book up.
He's channeling
Wolverine,
James Bond, man.
Wolverine, the best there is, #1 with original hand-drawn Wolverine headshots by Ken Hazer. I think we may have had this on once before, but found another one. It's definitely one of Ken's earlier works because you can tell by his signature, it's a much thinner pen that he uses to sign. It is suggested retail of $89.99. It is a best offer book tonight, starting at $25. I love this because it's got every iteration of Wolverine, including the Logan.
Well, apparently, if you're a hardcore Wolverine fan, one of the things they debate amongst themselves is what's his best look.
Right.
Is it the brown mask? Is it the more sort of the original look, where it almost had almost like a slight cat mask look to it?
Yeah.
Is he better? Everybody has like their favorite Wolverine. My favorite Wolverine is Old Man Logan. Until we got Old Man Logan, he was just another character to me. I read Old Man Logan. I'm like, oh man, I kind of dig this a lot.
So yeah, I figured you hopped on that one, Ron. Lars, man, I got you for 25, buddy. So anybody hear this rumor? I've been reading about this rumor, and I guess he shot it down. Daniel Radcliffe said he was, there was a rumor floating around he was going to be the next Wolverine or something.
That was really fan casting. We have
things. I think so. I think didn't he deny it or something?
They just burst into play. Yeah, he said.
But that doesn't ever mean anything, though.
No, but he was just like, he doesn't have any announcement to make. Yeah, I get it. To a certain extent, Daniel Radcliffe would be a good Wolverine because one of the things that gets lost in the shuffle, Wolverine's like about 5 feet tall.
Yes, and
I
remember
think
that. Yeah,
Daniel Radcliffe is 5.
Hugh Jackman's how tall?
Hugh Jackman.
He's
over 6
Hugh
foot.
Jackman's 6 foot tall.
Yeah, that's what I
thought. 6 feet tall.
That's
why he actually mentioned he would kind of sometimes crouch a little bit as like the movies went on. He would sort of try to make himself not look, because you'd always see the things where him in the comic, him and Cyclops are arguing, right?
Yeah.
And he's way, Cyclops is probably about 6'1". And then of course, as the years went by, the guy got, more and more, jacked up.
Right.
And Wolverine is always talking to his chest.
Right. Yeah, that is something. I think, well, I don't know. He might make a good one. I mean, so we'll see if that rumor holds out. But
guess who's back? Patch.
Here's the thing that's interesting about that kind of fan casting that we're talking about is that it's all possible for a cameo or a one shot now in Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah.
That's true. He's not the new Wolverine, but he is playing him for 2.5 minutes in Doctor Strange. There's possibilities for things that you would never expect because they're just going to retcon it at the end of the movie.
Right. I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, not to spoil anything because I haven't seen it, but there's no way at the end of Multiverse of Madness you are going to have a mad multiverse. At the end of this, Doctor Strange will somehow pull all the threads of the multiverse back together, because you're not going to have 9 Spider-Men in one. You know what I mean? They're going to sort this out.
Well, Stevie B says Daniel is going to be playing Weird Al in a movie. That is true. That I've heard.
If you've seen the pictures, he's way too jacked to be Weird Al. It's weird. I'm not okay with it, but he looks very much like 90s Weird Al. If 90s Weird Al was like in the gym all the time.
Yeah, because the real Weird Al is thin and tall. I get the
Right.
Yeah,
Colin
I've seen Weird Al in concert. He's taller than I am.
Yeah.
And that,
So it's always
Y'all
Go
gonna
ahead.
make me turn my camera on, aren't you? I know Weird Al. In this weird way, when I worked in radio, he would come to do shows in our town all the time, and we got to be friends over our mutual love of John's least favorite character, the Batman.
No.
So,
not the Green Hornet.
we've traded a few things over the years. Weird Al exclusive action figures and concert tickets for Batman trades. So I've actually got one here in the studio. Let me grab it and I'll show it to you.
Well, you
nice.
might now. If Kyle does that, if he knows Weird Al, he might have a personal tie to why he's so objectionable about Daniel Radcliffe playing the character. I mean, I'm willing to watch it. Let's see. But I hate when when you're doing something like that. It's like the Wolverine example.
Yeah.
It's like we all know Radcliffe is not a tall guy.
The one thing about Daniel Radcliffe I like is the guy is not afraid to take on any role. I mean, I guess depending on what reports you listen to,
Right?
He's made anywhere from $30 to $50 million being Harry Potter. Right?
Yeah, he really can't.
His bills are paid.
Yeah.
Whatever family he has is taken care of.
So he can.
So when they asked him to do that Swiss Army, it was like a take on Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
He's dead the whole time. The guy has zero problems with it. Oh, nice.
Oh, very cool.
Dare to be stupid.
So.
That's a good movie, by the way, Swiss Army Man. Have you ever seen it?
I have, yeah.
Good movie.
I know I did, but I think in my mind, if you go to Daniel Radcliffe and you say, "Here's the idea for the movie," I think a lot of people would be like, "I don't know, man."
Well, I can understand where he's coming from. He wants to play roles that are as far from Harry Potter as he can find.
And
Because
when I watched that movie, I didn't think about Harry Potter once. So
coming from
That's
you,
good.
that says a lot for him because
yeah, well, she also liked the Blade Runner 2049 movie, so you can't account for
boy.
taste.
We'll be back. Some of us will be back after these messages.
But I'm very excited. I read about the Dune Part 2. So I liked the director. I thought Dune was an excellent movie. I've watched it again now recently because it came back on
Blade Runner animated thing.
There's a Blade Runner animated thing? I did not hear about that.
It's Blade Runner, and I don't know if it's not 2049, but it's Blade Runner.
Thank God.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, listen,
Do we have a book?
even
Rex
great.
is going to get murdered.
Well, hopefully, all I want is that if that happens, that our viewership spikes on the show.
Sorry for the algorithm. Rex is going to get unalived.
Hollywood missed
Stay tuned. That'll be in the second hour.
Like a
Rex
holiday
gets
mystery. You come
murdered.
back from breaking, you're dead on the table, and everybody has a reason to have killed you.
It'll be like an episode of Clue. Okay, the game.
Guess he went to one recap too many.
Lars, man, we do not have a statue tonight, but I promise I will find something in the bowels of our warehouse and try to get it on Monday.
To make up for not having a statue, we do have some extra slabs, and one of them is a best offer book that we should get to before the first break.
Nice.
You're right. It is Despicable Deadpool number 287, lenticular variant, CGC graded 9.8. Suggested retail of $89.99. It is a best offer book for starting at $35. So you know what? Actually,
This was when this book came out, y'all. This was the most sought after one of these covers.
I'll try.
You can actually see it. I did it once.
Oh, did we? I was going to say, I don't mind doing it. I have not had great luck kind of.
Lars, man, Dwayne's a pain's already gone to 45 on that, buddy. So
yep.
This one is really well done.
When these dropped, this was a 1 in 25 variant. You had to order 25 copies to get one of these. So a lot of stores couldn't get deep enough to carry a ton of copies.
Yep.
And it was incredibly sought after. Like tons of people wanted
there
it.
you go. Twisting there you go. Now you're cooking with oil.
Couldn't get it. Lars Man goes to John Spilios goes to 50.
John Spilios. Gotcha.
I'll
so
update
John
the banner.
Spilios is at
We'll try to do that one
50.
again a little bit later too.
Lars, man, are you like is your router working okay there, buddy?
Why?
Every time he throws up an offer, somebody has like upped him right before.
He might be having a little laggy. Oh, you know what else we should do real quick before the break? We have time to do one more book.
What's that?
We should do the Ken Hazer Alien Symbiote book.
Let's wait. We'll do that when we come back. We'll do that.
We go to break.
No, I love these things on blank black variants. When we come back.
We had I had one on Monday when you weren't here. I forget what it was though.
Oh,
Hey,
there we go.
Might have been Venom.
No one cares about comics. These were the turn-in ribs for Kyle.
Wait, what?
Look at
Dwayne's
those.
a pain. All right, Dwayne, got you, buddy. Let me see here. Dwayne is now at 65. Got you, buddy. All right.
No, Adrian, those are not spam. Those are the real deal, man.
Lars Man says I'm bidding on Hydro, makes it less painful. Spam. All right. John Spilios is at 75.
John, that is such a cool cover. I wish that we had a better way to kind of show the lenticular
John
action.
was really bad at it.
I was not great at it, but it is, when you look at it, it is very cool.
So we were talking about something with food on Monday. For the life of me, I can't remember it. And somebody actually commented and said, John's probably done it. Okay. Or cooked it or something like that. I just can't remember what it was. I hate when I do that. So John Spilios. All right, I got you, John. At 75.
I know this too, because he's got a ton of experience in the food world. Sometimes you're cooking. Sometimes sometimes you're cooking for appearance, and sometimes you're cooking, like in the case of the ribs, it's both. The ribs have to look right and taste right. But there are tons of times where I was hired as a consultant, bar wasn't moving much food,
right,
and I wound up putting stuff on the menu that, let's be honest, people aren't going to make it home, and that's kind of the whole point. Somebody told me once I was food beasting before Food Beast. That's true, but it's not like I was the only one. There were tons of people. It's just that there wasn't sort of a home like there is for Food Beast. Everybody I knew was doing crazy sandwiches, pizzas as big as this table.
Well, there is one restaurateur chef personality that I don't like, but we'll get to that after the break. So it's time for our first break. Stay with us. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
I wasn't quite ready. I was looking at pictures of food.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there, hi there, oh there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I am your host, Henry Compa. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody! Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey!
What's up?
Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody! Welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectables.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. Is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box? What's in the Box?
Comic Culture and Sales.
All right, so we're back. So
Stevie
B
B
making chicken cutlets.
But he wished he'd taken ribs out.
Man, I am really hungry tonight. I mean,
with you.
John rolled in watching me eat a cup of noodles.
But hey, you can do a lot with a cup of noodles.
What's that?
You do it right, you can do a lot with a cup of noodles.
Yeah, but I'm not in college anymore, Kyle. I can't be eating a cup of noodles, so that's going to be sitting like.
Oh, sure you can. You just got to add the right spices and then meats and things to your cup of noodles, and you got a really nice soup.
If I'm going to go to all that trouble, I'm going to make something good. So we went to the break, and I said there's one food personality that I really don't like. I was good. During a break, I asked John to guess, and he guessed Bobby.
Did you guess John?
No, I love John. I really do. He's a good guy.
Sorry, that was too easy.
Especially since we're local. He's giving me great food suggestions. Notice all the grief I give John. I never talk about his skills as a cook, his knowledge about food, his knowledge about Bellagio's bakery, which makes this great bread. Literally, we can walk to the place from here.
Yeah, they're like around the corner.
They actually have a John Cole sandwich. I went up on their website because I was thinking about stopping there one day for lunch. And they actually, so I never insult him about that. But it is, he said it was Bobby Flay. It is not Bobby Flay, although he's not real high on my list.
It's a little bit hard to warm up to him.
Well, he had that burger joint at the Cherry Hill Mall. You remember that?
Yeah, that's
like several years ago. Oh, it was so pretentious. I mean, the food was all right, but it was overpriced. The place looked so pretentious, and it didn't last long, did it?
No, I mean, the problem with that is he was trying to do a throwback to like the burger joints that he went to. Flay and I are about the same age, right? And everybody had the spot where they went to get a burger, like a struggle burger. Not quite White Castle, but like maybe one step up from White Castle, right? And you'd be able to get like a cheeseburger, fries, and a Coke for, this is one, I'm probably dating myself here, but there were times where you could get like a halfway decent cheeseburger, fries, and a drink with a tip for $5. I know by today people are like, what? You know.
Yeah, so he was trying to recreate Bobby Flay was trying to recreate everything except the price.
Yeah, the problem was you were getting that burger where you'd maybe stick potato chips on it or something. The problem is you go to his place and the burger was like $9, and you'd be like,
"Oh, dude, it was like over 9. It was over 10. It was I think the cheapest burger was like 11." No, it is not actually Bobby Flay, because I do watch some of his segments, you know, when he's cooking and stuff, and he has some great ideas.
Is it the mayor of Flavortown?
Wait, what?
Is it the mayor of Flavortown, Guy Fieri?
No, it is not Guy Fieri either. Although he's kind of on the Bobby Flay level for me.
That guy would be me if I had talent.
The guy the food personality that completely annoys me is this guy that's just come out in the last couple of years. That dude Salt Bay. I can't stand that guy. Okay, what is this?
I understand.
Then I hear his restaurants are way overpriced, and the food is mediocre at best.
I understand. He's a celebrity that cooks.
Kyle's getting ready to work with Salt Bay Watch.
No. I've never heard of the guy.
Really? You got to look him up.
He's a classically trained chef. He's a meme guy. He came about from his meme because he's got a ponytail and he's doing a thing with salt or whatever.
Gosh. I cannot stand him.
At this point in my world, if you're not somebody like Myron Mixon or Aaron Franklin or
I don't even know who they are.
They're barbecue guys. They don't exist.
Now, my daughter and I used to watch that barbecue pit show, though.
We compete against. Those are the guys we were competing against this weekend. Like there were several guys who have been on that show were there this past weekend.
Don't play an easy cosplay. You're not kidding.
Rex, I got one for you. There's a show you need to watch. It's on True TV. It's called Fast Foodies.
Fast Foodies. I'm actually writing that down. But the problem with that's right, barbecue pit masters. That's right, Dwayne. The problem though was watching that show was my daughter and I ate way too much barbecue during that period, because you watch the show and what do you want to eat now?
There's no such thing. I'd be fine with that.
Those words don't go together. Although I will say this: by the end of the season, I have to go a good month without eating ribs, because I've eaten so many ribs during the season, 3-4 nights a week. That I'm like, I need to go a month and just eat brisket.
See, the problem is there a good barbecue joint around here, John? Not a chain.
My buddy, and it's he'll be the first to admit he's kind of like half and half. He's not a hardcore barbecue place. He's not a hardcore Mexican place, but Mom Pa's Tex-Mex barbecue. He does tacos. He does brisket nachos. He does beef ribs. Quite a bit, and I was one of the judges. I had to excuse myself from the round he was in because we're friends. His beef ribs are delicious. Now, beef ribs, I'll tell you right now, I prefer them, but they're not cheap. You go and you get a really good, well-cooked beef rib, you're probably in this part of the country at close to $30.
Wow.
So, you know what I mean? I don't know about the rest of the country, but I know here I was up in Monmouth County, and I think I paid like $28 for one.
Oh.
In Atlantic City, I paid, I think, 2 for $55 or something.
And surprisingly, Spam has not gone up in price.
Well, so we won't get into it too deep, but I just had to pay my SCA Steak Cook-Off Association membership for this year because my first steak comp is coming up at the end of April, and the amount of money between that and having to buy steaks for the season, it's 200% more than it was last year.
Wow.
Carl, I'm guessing you probably, and I'm not looking to pry into any secrets or anything, but I'm guessing as a competitor, you probably find like a local farm and buy.
No, it's not local. I buy we buy brisket and steaks from the butcher shop in Florida. Have it shipped to Ohio.
Wow.
There is a place called Mr. Brisket in Cleveland, but and they do a lot of locally grown beef. But they sell out super quick most of the time.
I can
so
imagine.
it's if you need an A9 brisket, it's hard to get them there. If you need Wagyu or something, you got to go a little further. So we go to the butcher shop in Florida, or Mr. Brisket in Cleveland.
So Lars Man says beef ribs are my jam. Big old Fred Flintstone looking ribs.
Yes.
Stevie B. Yes. Chef Boyardee. I used to love SpaghettiOs. My mom would absolutely. I have to beg her to get me a can of SpaghettiOs.
I told this story on Twitter. The first short order cook I worked with, because my dad was like, I don't want to be the only guy who teaches you how to cook. And I worked with a short order cook at like a terrible diner way down in South Jersey. This guy had some serious skills. He would work all day, eggs, bacon, whatever. He would be finished and he would sit in the back. Everybody who's ever worked in the kitchen knows what I'm talking about. Sitting on an upside down garbage can, and his meal would be the family size can of Chef Boyardee and a loaf of home fried bread. And he would fit 3 ravioli into the bread and just eat it like that. And he had the math down to the point where the can of Chef Boyardee ravioli, like the large can, and the loaf of bread were perfect. He would be done with everything at the end. And some of the younger guys in the kitchen, we would just stare because he was surrounded by better stuff, even though that's what he ate. And he's just like, I'm glad to have another chef do the cooking. And we're dying because it's like Chef Boyardee.
I loved it as a kid. All right, so you wanted to
Who was it that said they were going to do a J. Cole cocktail? Whoever that was.
I think it was Stevie B.
Whoever that was.
Lars Man.
I appreciate that. Lars Man. I'll tell you right now, I'll tell you kind of cocktails I like. The last cocktail I had over at a place called the Jug Handle last weekend.
The Jug.
They kind of did one for me. Not a J. Cole cocktail, but I kind of know the owners a little bit, so they did one for me. And it was bourbon and spicy honey and fresh squeezed orange juice.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that's sort of I'm like a big bourbon guy, whiskey guy, bourbon guy. I'm not like a gin vodka type guy. I kind of like the dark liquors, I guess, as you call them, or whatever.
All right, so you wanted to do the Symbiote Spider-Man, so we'll do that one next.
I absolutely love these, man. I just black blank variant, silver ink pen, which is not,
So Symbiote Spider-Man, Alien Reality #1, black blank variant, signed and cover sketch art by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99, and we have it tonight for $62, and we have one available for that price for 1962, when Spider-Man first appeared in Amazing Fantasy #15. All right, John Spolios.
Yeah, I was going to say somebody should be grabbing this up real quick because I cannot tell you how cool this book is. I absolutely love this book.
So just a reminder, everybody, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and if you would, please hit the thumbs up on YouTube or Facebook, however you're watching us tonight.
Couple things that we got to mention. First of all, CVB,
no, it is
Ravioli
not.
Hero. I have seen people do various kinds of sandwiches with ravioli.
Wawa does have pasta bowls now.
Wawa has pasta bowls. Wawa, I love Wawa. I've been going to Wawa for my entire adult life. I've gone to Wawa. Before that, I went with my dad before I could drive. I think they're spreading themselves a little too thin.
I would agree.
I think they're trying. I have no problem with they have like these kind of their fast food burgers are no better or worse than anybody else's fast food burgers, right? But when they started reaching into like brisket bowls and stuff like that, I'm like, hold on a second. I've done breakfast catering and barbecue competitions. I know what these guys go through to get this stuff 100% right. At a convenience store, that's just not happening. I'm sorry.
Eli, my friend. Unfortunately, I think John Spilios has already claimed that. Symbiote Spider-Man. Sorry about that.
Lars, man, I love candied bacon. Just recently, I posted something about I do like a sweet heat bacon. It's candied and it has habanero, dried habanero on it.
I would agree with what you say about Wawa is that they kind of reached a little too far. I mean, things kind of went wrong when they started to bake their own bread in stores.
They do this thing where it's baked or whatever.
Yeah, I can't stand it. It makes it smell like Subway now. It must be the yeast or whatever.
To me, Wawa is always going to be the place where I go for breakfast. I like their coffee. I like the sizzlies. And Wawa is also going to be the place I go to at 2:00 in the morning.
Triple B, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, smoked rye. Whoever mentioned that. Smoking, rye or whiskey or bourbon. I was in Key West a couple of years ago and I had smoked rum for the first time. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And there is absolutely nothing that isn't improved with the add of a little smoke. Dwayne, I'll mention this to you, the deep fried ravioli sub. A friend of mine who is in the food consulting business, she is from St. Louis, and she puts on menus deep fried ravioli burgers. And I have yet to see her do that for a client and it not sell. Fried ravioli apparently is a thing. Deep fried ravioli is apparently a thing in and around St. Louis, the lower Midwest. Certainly not an expert. 62 Lefty. And apparently she'll put 3 of them on a big half-pound burger and they go flying out the door.
Fried ravioli. How can you go wrong there? All right, so let's do, we have a Venom book. Let's do Venom Legacy number 200, signed by Donnie Cates. Suggested retail of $69.99, and we have one available tonight for $49.99, and it is number 13 out of 350.
I just rewatched the first Venom movie, and I got to tell you, it kind of caught a little flack, but I watched it. It's better than it's not as good as some people said, but it's way better than a lot of other people said.
So looks like, hold on a second here. I think we have. Let's see.
Did we miss somebody?
No, just somebody in the chat that we don't normally see. Emmanuel, how you doing, buddy? Hi, all. Freezing my ass in line for Schneider and Capullo signing at Midtown Comics. Oh, I heard
about that. I saw about that earlier too.
I hear you. Yesterday would have been a lot better.
Dropping up there, man.
Yeah.
Eli had a question, and we kind of glossed over that. Any more Spider-Man on the website like that? Like that CCA?
I'm not sure, actually.
Oh, the Ken Hazer.
Yeah, I am not sure, but Eli, I will try to bring it back on Monday if I can find another one. So hold on. Let me make a note here. So Eli is looking for the Symbiote Spider-Man. Okay.
Ken Hazer, Black variant.
I will definitely look in our warehouse, see if I can find one. And if I do have another one, it will definitely be on Monday's show. Okay. Symbiote Spidey by.
So, John, I'm kind of scrolling through the calendar of events on the State Cook-Off Association. I may have to have you come to Eastern PA. Help me out.
Not on a Monday or Wednesday.
I don't know how much I'd love to do the show remotely. Yeah, here with God.
I'm okay with that. I'll show up.
I would tell anyone, if you have not gone to one of these barbecue competitions, of course, for the competitors, it's a lot more. But to just go and be part of that world, like I said, I'm fortunate enough that I've catered breakfast several times. I used to do it out of a little cart, and these guys, after 19 hours of, like Kyle said, brisket or ribs or whatever, they were super happy to get like
something different,
like bacon,
egg bake,
French toast or whatever.
Egg bake.
Yeah.
No, and here's the thing: if you're gonna go, the competitors generally can't give you food anymore. because COVID and safety.
Really?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
safety.
you know what?
I didn't know.
But just drive through real slow with your windows down. It's worth it.
Why? Will you throw food into the car?
No, but the smells, man, the smells.
Yeah.
Well, I might as well just
It's
park
like
and
a
walk around.
subset of the culinary population in this country that is unparalleled. I know some other countries do it, and I'm not taking anything away from them, but this has sort of become like the American homegrown cuisine. You know, Italians have their cuisine, French have their cuisine, whatever. Barbecue is our thing. And I got to tell you, to see the passion out there, I don't care if you're like a hardcore competitor. I don't care what kind of division you're in. I don't care what kind of competition you go to. Everybody has a great time. You know what I mean? It's one of the very few, I can't really think of anything else that has a judging society. A lot of people, there's a pizza cook-off society or whatever, but the judges, you get a certification to judge barbecue. And I'll tell you right now, I've judged pizza, I've judged almost everything. And it's just, there's really no sort of, we sit at a table and we just kind of discuss what's right and what's not right. And obviously something overcooked or undercooked gets tossed, but barbecue has a criteria. You take a class, you pay money to learn how to, how to judge barbecue. That tells you how serious they are about this stuff.
All right, so let's see. We had Lars Man. Yes, that is a Amazing Spider-Man slab. So we'll do that one next. And then 62 Lefty. Yes, that is a Virgin Red Sonja cover. We'll do it after the ASM. And let me see. And Adrian, yes, we'll do the 9.8 Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. And let me see. I think there was one other request, wasn't there?
Marvel Spotlight.
Yep, we'll get to that. All right, so we'll go in that order then.
Yeah.
So Amazing Spider-Man number 800, first printing CGC graded, 9.8 guaranteed. Suggested retail of $89.99. We have one available for $75 tonight.
This is an early Red Goblin appearance. It's not the first, but it's maybe the first full cover.
Let me take a look.
But it's a real early Red Goblin appearance.
Oh, it's Death of Flash Thompson.
Well, that happens too. I wasn't going to spoil the book.
Well, can't open it, Kyle.
Well, that's
I don't think I have a
fair.
reader's copy.
You know.
buddy.
I just had to admit that was funny that you just
and whoever gets this book,
Lars Man's taking it.
Lars Man is going to see it. It's right on the tag. Death of Flash Thompson.
It's true.
All right, Lars Man, you got it, buddy. Let me just write you down here. So Lars Man's picking that one up. Cool. All right. So what was next now?
Next was the Red
see.
Sonja.
Yes, I promise we do it in the order that it was asked. So let's do that one next. We have Red Sonja number 7, Leverix Lee, Virgin cover. Suggested retail of $50, and we have one available tonight for $40. If anybody's interested, let us know.
This Red Sonja story, when I read it yesterday for review, gave me real strong Lone Wolf and Cub vibes, but in the way only Red Sonja can have a Lone Wolf and Cub vibe. Like, there's no other character with which the story that was told could be told and not be weird. Like Red Sonja, it's perfect the way they approach that story.
I would agree with that. All right, so let's see. So we did the Red Sonja, if anybody's interested in that. And then let's see. Marvel Spotlight, was that the next one in line?
Yeah, I think somebody asked about Marvel Spotlight, right?
I believe so.
We got like 3-4 people asked.
Supergirl we were going to do first.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
right. You're right. You're right. You're right. All right, hold on. Let me find it. Where is it?
Of course, I don't have a Supergirl on my...
I don't either.
Oh, you know what? It's part of the mega set.
It's the mega set. You're right. Okay, so let's do that next. So DC Ultimate Heroes mega set. All right, so suggested retail of $260, and tonight we have it for $149.99. Includes Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow number 1, signed by Tom King. Superman number 1, signed
Nick,
by
we're not
Brian
there yet. We're going in order.
I wanted to have fun.
Wonder Woman number 0, signed by Cliff Chang. And Detective Comics number 1027, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8. So Lars Man, Mega Pack, I
bet.
Yes.
He was,
okay.
yeah, he was telling us where it was at. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. Let me see. So then, all right. So we'll give that a couple minutes. So that is available tonight.
Who's the cover on the slab in the mega pack?
That is Detective Comics number 1027.
I have an original page from that book hanging right here. John Romita Jr. Scott Hanna art.
Very cool, dude.
Yep. No, that's a great book. I actually have a different cover. I think maybe it was a DF exclusive cover hanging with it, but very cool book. That's the Andy Kubert cover. Thank you, Nick.
All right. So that is available tonight. And then we have Marvel Spotlight number 28, CGC 6.5. And we have one available at 600 tonight.
Oh, man.
So if you
away, I think, for Moon Knight.
I know. So everybody's excited. I am certainly. I'll be watching. A friend of mine we were talking about it today, the Moon Knight. On Monday we had Moon Knight number 1, graded 9.8. That went a lot of people going back and forth on that.
I'll tell you right now, and we talk about this a lot, but this is probably the most timely time I'm going to say this. We've got 8 or 9 days till Moon Knight hits. All the prices on these books, the day after Moon Knight is premieres, will be higher. I've actually spoken to dealers essentially telling me that, I'm just kind of waiting. I'm selling the books as is. I'm not jacking up any prices. The night after Moon Knight premieres, you can expect those books. Even the retailers are telling you.
Right.
Yeah, the popularity drives the price of these books.
If you go on something like Go Collect and look at recently sold listings of this book, $600 is about what a 5 is going for these days.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing Nick priced this a couple of days ago after not having enough animal protein in his diet. Their listings now. You don't see any listings for this under $1,000 at a 6.5. If you're looking at something like a 9.8, you're looking at 1,800.
Yeah.
So.
And I think Nick just posted in the chat, him and Amy saw the same thing I saw today. This book, it's probably over 1,000 now. It was up on eBay. It was kind of creeping up towards 1,000. This stuff is going to go, and then people aren't going to find it. And after they get to, a couple episodes of the thing, they're going to be looking for the books. So if you're interested, this is sort of your, this is like your wake-up call. Get it now. Don't come back to us next month and be like, hey, why is the book more expensive?
Hey, Nick, since you're watching, has this book been pressed? Has it been cleaned? Has there been any work done to this book? Because just looking at it, Larsman's right. This is a really nice looking 6.5. If it's not been pressed and you're willing to take the shot, you could you could have it cracked, pressed, cleaned at CGC. There you go. It's not been cleaned or pressed, and maybe even raise it a number or two. Like, not saying you could, but based on my experience with books that look like this,
right,
there's a lot of opportunity.
That's always a risk.
That's a real nice copy, though. That's a great point. That was like the first thing I looked at when I walked in here, and I was like, wow, it came back as a 6.5. That looks real nice.
I sent in a Fantastic 448 that was a 6.5 that had never been pressed and cleaned, and it came back an 8, which was the biggest jump I ever got. Never again did I have that kind of luck. I've sent it in and had it come back exactly the same as it was before. So
he used
that money for nothing.
Gun bonus card.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things is that if you're into this is a great price, a great investment. And there's opportunity there, to add a piece to your collection that's going to be hard to come by in a week.
Right. I agree. I totally agree. So that is available tonight. We have the one available at 6.5 for 600. So, all right. You know what? Let's do it.
Funny thing is, I was talking to a retailer last week about when Winter Soldier and Falcon premiered, right? And she had said on a podcast, she was honest about it. She's like, this thing is going to be real successful. It's going to drive up the price of books. And I guess the listeners of this podcast thought it was all hype or whatever. By the time the second episode of that dropped, she had no Winter Soldier stuff in her store.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Gone. And the stuff that she had priced a little bit higher, people were telling her, I can't believe how low your prices are. So, you know what I mean? It's not always like, about trying to sell a book or something like that. In this case, we're trying to let people know this is the lowest you're going to see this book at from here on. It's like sometimes when people buy different, like Virgin covers or whatever, I'm like, look, I know from experience, a year from now with a con, this book is going to be significantly more than we're offering it for right now. So if you have interest saying I'll get it some other time, you're actually saying I'll pay more for it some other time.
All right. So
or you'll never see it again. I mean, that's the reality. My first ASM 15, I looked at it at a con and said, "Oh, I'll get it when I come back on Sunday," and it was gone. And then I didn't see another one for 2.5 years. So, just when you see the time to buy something cool is when you see it.
Yeah, no, especially nowadays, man. I tell people, original art. Slabs, the stuff just does not hang there. I mean, yeah, sure, we offer things again or whatever. Maybe something doesn't sell, but more likely than not, when something is timely, it doesn't, like Kyle said, it's just gone. And then you're like, oh, I wanted to get in on that. Okay, and so did everybody else.
All right, let's get this book out here as we go into the next break. Walking Dead #1, 10th anniversary edition, signed in gold by Dave Stewart. Suggested retail at $89.99. We have one available for $19.92, the year that Image first formed. It is signed in gold and is number 4 of 10.
Nice.
So, all right, let's see.
They've been running promos for the return of the show. And it's to the point now where they're in the show beyond where I read the comic. So I'm thinking I might jump back into the show now because it won't be like, that's not the comic.
Yeah.
Which is why I stopped watching.
Nico claimed it.
Gotcha, Nico.
It's funny that Kyle said that because I had the same sort of, they posted like a 40-second clip on Twitter and I was like, I don't know where they are. This might be a time to watch the show.
Yeah, right. All right. So
Nick, you should get on that. I totally agree with Lars Man on this one.
The DFCOA for signatures, yeah.
Yeah, CGC has really gone that kind of safe route. It's if they're not a party to the signing or the artists themselves don't sign off on all this paperwork, So
yeah, but to a certain extent, that's gonna, you can only do that for so long too. I'm the only person that's going to certify stuff. Well, okay. People are just sort of moving on.
That's like, I just got my witness certification for CBCS. Because I'm at a convention, you can do something if you can witness, right? Even if there's nobody else there.
Right.
And Lars Man's right. It's when you're as recognized as an authority in this, in the industry as DF is, something you could probably work out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. There's like a compromise there. I mean, I understand that CGC is like, well, we have to really kind of keep our standards or whatever, but there's always room.
I do understand where they're coming from in the perspective of, but I also agree with Kyle. At some point, it's going to have to change. But you know what? We got to go to our next break, so stay with us, and we'll talk about this a little bit more when we get back. Hey, and we're back. And I don't know what John's doing. He's updating his status. Really? Can you order me something? So Dwayne's a Pain says fear of counterfeit COAs, perhaps, possibly. But I think that
I was just checking that Moon Knight book because I just know this is one of these things that are going to come around again.
Right.
And I just see a bunch of books around this grade. They're at least $150 to $180 more, and that was literally me doing 5 minutes on Google. So you guys can kind of check that stuff out yourself. Well, I know people are like, "Oh, well, eBay has inflated prices," and I'm certainly not arguing. eBay is very much what the market bears, but just checking a few of the other kind of usual suspects. The price for that Moon Knight book is about as kind and gentle a price as I've seen right now.
So I think
that's part of the reason I use Go Collect when I check those things. And it's not a endorsement for them necessarily, but they do have the actual auction houses involved in their pricing as well.
See, but that's a good resource though, because we kind of forget sometimes. I mean, and I like to mention this a lot. Yeah, sure, people on the experience, they're entertainers, they're quote unquote characters, but at first and foremost, everyone's a retailer. You know what I mean? So if a retailer is using this site as a resource, that kind of speaks pretty well of it. I think, I don't know if people just think, like Jen just opens boxes and has fun all day, but in her real life, you know what I mean? She's a retailer. And the other thing, I got this again, and I always like to say this at least once during the show. Sorry if it's beating a dead horse. If there's something that you want that we don't have, reach out and message Rex. And if we don't have it here, every other show, I think almost every other show, I don't know about Dan. I don't know if Dan is a retailer, but almost every other show is either produced by or hosted by a retailer. Reach out to someone on the experience. I can't imagine a book that's so rare that nobody has a line on it. I mean, you look at who we have on the channel. I mean, I can't imagine a book that's so rare within reason.
I was going to say there are a couple.
No, but
so, Stevie B has actually a very good idea, which Stevie B I will mention to the editorial staff because I love the idea, to be quite honest with you. Famous comic book creator trading cards. You
get a super rare and it's got a piece of somebody's T-shirt in it,
well, I mean,
especially if they draw their own cards.
Well, no, I mean, I actually came from a trading card company. Originally a trading card company. That's how I started in collectibles, and I love the idea. And he brings up a very good point. The cards would be great for autographs with cons returning. So maybe you do a 5-pack, five card foil pack, and you include one autograph from already included plus 4 cards that you could take to a con and get signed.
But you know how you get like jersey cards with a little slice of jersey in them for sports cards.
Yeah.
So now you get a little piece of Fabian Nicieza's T-shirt.
Yeah, for me,
we have a guy who might be able to get Fabian Nicieza's T-shirt.
Yeah, you just walk up behind him with a pair of scissors.
I'll be honest with you. I think Dwayne's a Pain sketch card. Yes, as a chase card, autograph cards as a chase card. But I love the concept. That's a very good idea, Stevie B. Are you not drinking this evening, or what's the deal there, Steve?
The Oh Yeah Comics guys, Art Balthazar and Franco, had a card made for themselves, and they would pass it off like they were athletes. Like it says famous cartoonists. Hey, here's my rookie card.
Yeah. So, but no, I think that's a tremendous idea. It really is. For me, I wouldn't do the cloth only because the cloth only really has relevance if it's either a sports card and it's a uniform of an athlete, or it's a movie card.
Are we going to try to clone people with this thing?
Well, this goes back to the conversation about CGC and
we're going to grow another McFarlane. Joe has the right idea.
Spit from McFarlane. But why CGC has to go back and reevaluate their process for autographed books? Mainly because the system they currently have in place, what do you do about artists that have passed?
That's a great point. Not to be morbid, but
no, but I mean, no, that's a reality. And I'm taking this example. As from something that came out of the sports world, because you can't get an affidavit from Joe DiMaggio because the man's not here with us anymore. So the authentication companies had to deal with that. So that's when they, I think, really kind of made the leap as well. And certainly when authentication became a thing, Babe Ruth was long since gone. Lou Gehrig as well. So there are certain athletes that it's an impossibility. And then Stan Lee and so on and so forth, Joe Simon. I mean, so you kind of have to get around that problem. So Ron says that's been done several times. Potentially, yes. I don't know how many times it's been done, but again, what's that?
I love what the way he's painted here. I have a sealed Jim Lee X-Men card box. Might be a signed Jim Lee card in there, but I'm keeping it sealed. Isn't that like a Schrodinger's Jim Lee card then? Maybe it's there.
That's too funny.
We never know.
Autograph, yep.
So Stevie B says he came across the original set, and it's sad to see how many of the folks back in 1992 are no longer with us. That's true,
that's
too.
Sort of a...
Yeah, it sort of dates you when you start to think about things like that. There were actually 12 cards in the pack back then. It's ironic, or not ironic, but it's really interesting how quickly time passes. And you realize it's 2012. I saw something like, oh my gosh,
it's 2022. Just so you know, you said 2012.
Oh jeez,
I got bad news.
Yeah, right. 2022 rather. But what do you mean? It's 2012. I'm sticking to that, John. I'm 10 years younger. I don't know what's going on with my hair.
Oh
man. Marcus goes, better to keep it sealed. People buy for the potential like draft picks. That
that's a great point.
From a sports perspective, a lot of times that'll happen. Like if you can find a sealed box that still has the shrink wrapped around it, obviously it's going to have a premium. You open it and you crack all the packs and you don't get nothing, boy. You're like that guy that bought the Tom Brady football for $520,000. Like, oh man, are you kidding? All right, so let's go to our next book.
We have a slab we haven't gotten to, don't we?
I think we do. I'm pretty sure we do.
Thor 11.
Should we do that one next? Let's do that one next then.
Oh,
Thor number 11. This one I'm
Nice.
very certain we have not had on the show before.
Thor
Thor number 11, Johnson variant cover, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8. Suggested retail of $89.99. We have it for $62 tonight for the first appearance in Journey into Mystery.
Well, and I'm relatively sure this is the first time Thor has killed a xenomorph. Because that's what's happening on that cover.
On that. I'm not sure.
This is from that, I guess, when Marvel and
when Aliens
came
came
out.
out.
Dwayne, you got it, buddy.
Marvel sort of got in the alien business, and the next thing you know, they did a whole series of alien variant covers.
Right.
I don't remember if they did one for every title, but I know they did one you saw them quite a bit.
We definitely had another silver one. Maybe it was Alien on Monday. I don't remember.
I just know that Thor could not beat the Predator. He could beat the Alien, but he couldn't beat the Predator. I'm just throwing that out there.
Especially when he's the unworthy Thor. He's just a guy with a big stick. Come on now.
Yeah, he needed Batman to help him.
I'll tell you what I wanted to see. Somebody posted, it was from like one of the commissions or whatever, and somebody posted a Predator standing over a beheaded Sinestro wearing a yellow fear ring. And I was like, yeah, I'd buy that book. I'd buy that book right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so next up, we'll do Action Comics number 1000, Dynamic Forces exclusive wraparound variant cover, edition by Dan Jurgens, signed by Pete Tomasi. Suggested retail of $80. We have one available tonight for $38.19. For 1938, when Superman first appeared in Action Comics number 1. It is signed in gold and is number 25 out of 50. And we have one available for $38.19. And that is a great Jurgens cover, Superman through the years.
I tell people when they're like, oh, Superman never changes. And I'm like, have you not seen any of the covers where like they show you how Superman has changed?
Well, he at least changes the underwear on the outside.
God, I hope so.
I realize a lot of times I'm a traditionalist. I was okay with them taking the underwear off on the outside. I know like the hardcore Superman fans were like ready to go on the warpath. I'm kind of fine with that.
Well, even leaving them on, there are times where they're more shorts. They're like they come down the thigh a little further, and then there are times where they're more like wrestling trunks, or they're a little higher.
I think that's how Steve Rude tends to draw them, almost like it's part of the singlet or something.
Right. Steve Rude draws them like he's Rick Rude, which is a different Rude. Yeah, Dwayne's a pain. Also, his hair changes from clean to mullet to clean again. Not unlike our publisher, Nick Brucci. Because, I have all those mullet videos.
Nice.
Lucky man, you. All right, so let's see. All right, so that is available tonight for $38.19. So let's go to Star Wars. This is one I'm pretty sure we've never had on the show either. Star Wars Adventures Annual, signed by John Jackson Miller. Suggested retail of $69.99, and we've got one available for $29.99, signed in silver, and it is number 22 of 25. So
this is one of those weird properties, right, where Disney is letting somebody else play in their sandbox,
yes,
but for the sake of the children's. The Star Wars Adventures were the kids' Star Wars books, right? Because at the time when these were coming out, if you were under maybe 13, you shouldn't have been reading your Darth Vaders and your Dr. Aphras and your regular Star Wars books because they were getting a little adult. So you had
that's actually a great point.
That were super fun. Even for grown-ups, they were super fun, but IDW did a really great job of keeping the funness that you would see in something like Droids or other Star Wars, animated properties available to everybody.
Well, I think that, and I think we talked about it Monday in reference to the Miss Marvel trailer, and realizing that they're definitely targeting a younger demographic is, and not the greatest example, but I have to draw that example that tobacco companies faced years and years ago, back when, they could freely advertise, give out samples and stuff. It's at some point they were smart enough to realize, oh, hey, our longtime customers are dying of lung cancer. So
yikes,
we're going to be out of business if we don't recruit new smokers. And in a strange sort of way, I kind of feel like the comic book industry, Joe Camel, the comic book industry kind of is faced with the same situation. Is you got to do these things because we do need that younger generation to start reading. And it's a more difficult challenge now because you got to peel them away from their phones.
Well, you also do, I think a good example of that was the Batman Adventures.
Yes.
Right? I thought Batman Adventures was entertaining to read if you were an adult fan, but it was super critical. Batman Adventures came out, and my oldest godchild, there was nothing for him to read. Like I couldn't let him look at any of my comics.
Like the boys? Time. You couldn't show them?
Oh, seriously, though. I mean, Kyle mentioned it too. I remember reading through some Darth Vader stuff and thinking one day, this is not for middle school kids. It's just not. So I think Adrian just mentions IDW did DuckTales. IDW sort of realizes that, we need to have something for teenagers, middle schoolers, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, because guys like me and John, we ain't going to live forever.
No.
So kind of faced with the same problem, but of course they're also faced with a technology shift, which can be somewhat difficult because now you're dealing with more than just trying to get younger readers into the medium. You have to deal with this technology shift as well.
Well, so one of the things that as a retailer that I experienced a ton of is you'd have kids come in who had gotten introduced to the medium through Webtoon or Comixology or one of those. And then they'd be like, I want to go to the comic book store because I want to buy toys. I want to buy pop figures. I want to buy statues, whatever. And then they realize that if you're reading something on Webtoon, it's an indie. There aren't toys and stuff. So they're looking for something they can latch onto, and they know Star Wars from television. So you could point them to a Star Wars book and be like, here, try this. And these were fantastic for that.
Right. So Marcus says e-cigs and e-readers. That's probably, that's a topic that we've talked about with Robbie. We've talked about with Alec, with John and Kyle and JD.
Yeah, we've discussed that a lot.
Yeah. It's is that going to be the way, the future to draw the kids in? Maybe.
Well, they just announced, I think you get 3 months of Marvel Unlimited with, help me out, I just saw this. I don't know if it's with PlayStation or, one of the gamer services. They were like, look, we're going to throw this out there. They're clearly doubling down on the digital medium.
Right.
There are tons of people I know that they're catching up on they're catching up on Marvel books from, thank you, JD, with Xbox Game Pass, that you're getting 3 free months of Marvel Unlimited. There are people now, and Kyle mentioned this as well, where they're reading all this stuff digitally, and they it's almost like they're fascinated. Like, I want to go see a comic book. I want plus the comic book store vibe has become a thing. I mean, aside from Comic Book Man, and we've talked about that before, entertaining show, 95% staged, 5% real is that there's a storefront in Red Bank that, the rest of it is sort of manufactured. But people have now become, going to a comic book store is almost like going to the boardwalk or going down the shore, you know what I mean? Which is both good and bad.
Right.
I think the comic book stores that have really prospered are the ones that are carrying T-shirts and toys and statues and stuff like that. The ones who just basically want to open boxes and put books on shelves on Wednesdays, I think it's a little bit tougher for them.
Right. No, I agree with you there.
I'll tell you, my reading has changed just in the last year of experience. I read probably 60% of my books digitally now, because people are sending me PDFs to read for review. And then if I like them, I go buy them. And they never get opened. They just get bagged and boarded and put away.
Yep.
Because I still want to support those companies. So I'll give you for instance. I have every Vampirella that's come out in the last 2 years. I've never opened one of them because the folks at Dynamite are so nice to send me a PDF so I can read it on my iPad and not screw up my book. So, it's so I mean, changing the way you consume will also change the way you shop. And if people really want to collect a thing, then they'll find a way to do it.
Well, I think the danger is that, there's a generation out there that collects the books. And that's why you have stores that have vinyl records and things of that nature. And there's nostalgia that's involved in it. Some people, they con themselves, they got their turntable and they say, oh, listen to this. It's old school, blah, 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 blah. And I'm listening to a scratchy record thinking, yeah, there's just no way this is better than listening to it, on my phone or whatever. But there's a nostalgia to it. And I appreciate that, and I certainly remember moments, my mom with, she had a ton of records and the Platters and Elvis. And, I wish I had those records now. And all of those things. So there is something there. And of course, I had
the Spider-Man album that came with a poster and everything.
You remember those read them and play them books, with the 45s, and
I used to love them because they were all these obnoxious colors: red, blue, green, and you would play them, and they would kind of work.
And there you
go. Kyle got right there. What's the opening bid, Kyle?
Is your mic off, Kyle?
No, I just have moved away from it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So this is the Amazing Spider-Man record?
So I guess what I'm looking at is what happens when that generation, does something more active need to be done to get the younger generation to realize the value of collecting the physical book? Because after a certain point, they won't have that nostalgia or attachment to it. And that's kind of the fear of vinyl stores and these little shops that pop up because Tower Records no longer exists, obviously.
So it's there's a cyclical thing, right? Like vinyl went away for a long time and now it's back. People are collecting vinyl. People are collecting things.
The flea market or the boardwalk, vintage stores are everywhere.
Right.
That's the Berlin Mart's got one. Yeah. This guy's got everything. He's got long play LPs. He's got 45s. He's got cassettes. He's even got CDs now.
Well, and that's the thing is cassettes are starting to come back.
But my concern is that
2024, my 8-tracks I'll be able to get them again.
8-tracks are never coming back, John. My fear is that even though it is coming back, that is a much smaller segment of the market when you look at the overall market. And that's concern I have, is that the people that are going to those stores, you're not going because you throw it on the LP and the sound quality is better. There's no way the sound quality is better.
Yeah, but see, there are people that think it's better.
But they think because the scratchy sound or whatever you're getting brings you to a previous time in your life, and I appreciate that. Don't get me wrong. If I could listen to an Elvis record or a Platters record, on a turntable, an actual, Techniques turntable, I had the whole thing with the smoke glass, the stand. It would remind me of moments, when my mom was still here, but my daughter's never going to listen to an LP, and when I'm gone, thinking that, oh, well, that reminds me of my dad. Because she didn't grow up with that medium. She barely grew up during the CD era.
Neither did I.
Right. So
because that's were a thing already when I was born. But what I found with records is that.
But keep in mind, though, comics has had a slower trajectory there.
Right.
And that's good. That's a good thing, because people have been still buying physical copies. They have not been willing to give that up.
What I'm saying is that it's experiential. If you put on a CD of Dark Side of the Moon, or you put on the record of Dark Side of the Moon, it's a different experience. It's why watching a roller coaster video is different than riding a roller coaster. Right? It's the experience you have in doing it.
I agree with you to a certain extent, but I don't know about the roller coaster example. I mean, that's two different.
I can't ride roller coasters. I get sick, but I can watch roller coaster videos on YouTube all day long.
There you go.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. So for me, I buy records because it's hard to change a song on a record. It's a lot harder than changing on Spotify. So I put on a record and I can get a lot more work done. Or I can go sit at my desk, sit at my hi-fi system, put on my big $200 headphones, and not have the world exist. The same thing with a comic book. When I open a Marvel Spotlight like that, and it has that smell, and it has that look, the rest of the world ceases to exist. And so the way the comics industry will have to kind of weather this trajectory is creating experiences. It's Marvel,
I don't disagree with that. I think that's a great point. But the problem, Dwayne Zapane says, it's great when he takes his nieces and nephews to the comic shops and watch them grab stuff off the shelves and then reading them in the car. Hope that continues for many, many years to come. That is a great point. That's a great thing that's happening. But the problem is it's not happening, in my opinion, enough. And that becomes, that becomes a danger, is that you're going to have a generation that didn't grow up with it, that has no attachment to it. Will a few cross over? Sure. But as a rule, it generally doesn't happen.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
This is John's theory. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Okay. John will bring a taco truck and all will be good with the world.
It'll be fine. I've invested heavily in treasury editions. They're coming back anytime.
All right,
let's get to what those are going for right now. Oh my God.
Let's get to.
Somebody told me that, because I always joke around about treasury editions. Somebody said, "Have you seen the back issue prices on them?" And I'm like, "No." Apparently, they're high.
All right, before we got to go to break, let's get another book out of the way here. Cool. Silver Surfer Rebirth #1, Dan Jurgens variant, signed by Dan Jurgens. Suggested retail of $49.99.
I love his signature.
We have one available for $19.66. It is number 53 of 60. And we have one available at this price. Lars Mann says, don't screw up my Dream Theater or Iron Maiden by playing the vinyl. So
that's a great cover.
That is a great cover. Galactus in the background. He's a character that kind of got all right, Lars Mann, you got it. He's a character that got cheated in those Fantastic Four movies. That's for sure.
Well, again, if you read the Ultimate Fantastic Four, their approach of Galactus was one of the few things I thought was a mistake. They tried to kind of create Galactus like he was some sort of weird force of nature or whatever, and I'm like,
Hey, Nico, I see the thumbs up, so I think you realize Lars Mann beat you to it by probably like a millisecond. Sorry about that, buddy. Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
Hey, but real quick, there's a CCA we haven't done yet. How is that possible? We're 3/4 of the way through the show and we haven't done it.
Where is it? Hold on.
Why are you so bad at this?
Uncanny X-Men, man.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, let's do that one next.
He's so talented, he makes Cyclops look good. Let's be clear.
Stop hating on Cyclops. Uncanny X-Men #1, signed by Chris Bacalo, with cover sketch art by Ken Hazer, also signed by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99. We have one available for $63 for 1963, the year that the X-Men first appeared.
One of the shows we've developed for the experience, and we started doing them. We filmed a bunch of them. They've never come out. Just because we don't have a format for it yet, is like listicle shows. And one of the lists I made are 10 X-Men who deserve to go to heaven for the time they spent with Cyclops.
Nice. And that's the truth. See, I'm one of those people that I think Cyclops works great as a heel. Cyclops fans are like, this is terrible. I love the fact, the whole vibe where this guy's like, I was the first X-Man, and now I'm Gail Simone's punchline. Forget it.
I'm sorry. I will have to respectfully disagree.
Everybody does. It's okay.
Well, look, I like Cyclops mainly because he's got that power that he cannot just hide or turn off or whatever. It's very easy when you're Storm or whatever, or even Colossus. Okay, yeah, well, I can turn to metal at will. So I can
Except
turn
that
it
his
off.
power is defeated by sunglasses.
Yeah, I was going to say I got sunglasses at home.
I will say this though. I'm going to say this. I like Uncanny Cyclops a lot better, like in this run that this art represents, than I like yellow Geordie LaForge visor Cyclops.
Yeah. Banana clip on the eyes.
Yeah.
No.
I'm just
Adrian's
saying.
right. Heel Cyclops is interesting. And I love the fact that some of that character was written where they almost a little bit meta, where they incorporated some fan comments about him being boring, one-dimensional or whatever. I love that. They gave that guy a few really good kind of like mini rants where he's like, Charles Xavier, he's the first X-Man and he doesn't get his respect. Every Jean Grey looking at Wolverine every chance she gets. And no, man, you know what? Eventually Magneto is the good guy. If I was him from day one, and Magneto tried to kill me when I was a teenager, I'd be like, so wait a minute, this guy's with us now? No. I would like to see that in a movie. I would like to see a movie where at the end of the first redone X-Men movie, there's like a heel turn.
All you people hate on Cyclops, man.
Something that's interesting just from an art perspective, I'm going to throw this out there.
Kyle?
The work
dropped off for a second.
Can you hear me?
You're cutting in and out on us, buddy. I don't know if it's your mic.
Is it us or it's them?
I hope it's not us.
You guys aren't cutting out for me, so it's probably my mic.
Yes, we do have to go to our last break. Kyle, I don't know if that's you or us, buddy.
It's me. Let's go to break.
We're going to do a Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now?
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there, hi there, ho there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome everybody to Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I am your host, Henry Kumpel. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody, welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey everybody, welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey.
What's up?
Welcome everyone for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody, welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectables.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box? What's in the Box?
Comic culture and sales.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
Hey guys, so Rex and John had some technical issues. They will be right back, but I figured while we're waiting, I would just go through some of the stuff we've already shown you, give you a second chance to take a look at it while we wait for them. That way you didn't have to keep watching commercials. So we'll start with the ASM 800. It's an early Red Goblin book. That is, right now, it's a CGC 9.8. Tonight only $75. We have next up the Despicable Deadpool CGC book. Hopefully Rex gets back soon because I don't remember all of these things. This is another CGC guarantee 9.8. Tonight only $75. It's a best offer book. John Spilios has it right now. You can get in on that for the next 20 or so minutes. We have G.I. Joe #1 signed by Fred Van Lente. This is another best offer book that right now is at $10 with Lars Mann, regularly $89.99, signed in silver by Fred Van Lente. This was a great G.I. Joe run, by the way. If you haven't read it, check it out. We're going to move over to another biggie. This is Marvel Spotlight, number 28. This is the first solo Moon Knight story. So this is his first whole story on his own. It's a CGC 6.5. Tonight, it's $600, which is a steal. You see this book right now going on the internet for right around $1,000, a little heavier than that. Nico, I got you on the G.I. Joe homie. We will get that taken care of for you. In fact, I'm going to do that right now, so guys, bear with me, because normally you don't have to see me do this. But while those guys are rebooting their computer and getting things set up, I'm going to just keep rolling with it. Red Sonja, #7. This is the vegan cover. This is the Lenrix Lee vegan cover. Normally it's a $50 cover. Tonight only $40. This is a cool cover, and it's a great story. Lone Wolf and Cub vibes, but told from the perspective of Red Sonja, which is not a thing that I would have expected to happen the way it happens, and it makes for a really interesting book going forward. Next, beyond that, Silver Surfer Rebirth, #1, signed by Dan Jurgens. Although I think this one got claimed. Did somebody pick this one up? Yes, Lars Mann picked this one up. So we're going to move on from that. See, now they're back.
All right. Sorry about that. We had some difficulties.
Can you all hear me?
I can hear you. We can hear you.
All right. I'm in the middle of a recap.
Oh, cool.
So we are
dragons on the G.I. Joe, I see.
Yeah. I got it marked down in the banner as well on that one. So right. I am officially at Star Wars Adventures Annual 2016, Star Wars Adventures Annual 2016, signed by John Jackson Miller, regularly $69.99. Tonight only $29.99. It's a great all ages Star Wars jump in point.
Yes, Lars Man, we have you down for the ASM, buddy. Number 800.
Oh, sorry, Lars. I don't have those notes. John or Rex has those.
Yeah.
So I was just going based on the things I could remember we showed.
No worries.
One of the things I skipped over was this.
All right.
The Mega
So
Mix set.
you were at Star Wars, right? So
right, but I skipped over this, not realizing it.
No problem. I could, since I have the notes, I can go ahead and finish up there. So all right, Silver Surfer also went to Lars Man. Nico jumped in on G.I. Joe for 15. Let's see.
I was also
Symbiote
going
Spider-Man.
alphabetically, if that helps you catch up.
No, I actually do it in the order that it came in the sheet.
Right.
So.
I was going alphabetically, so
I got you.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's do. We only have 1, 2.
Lars
I
may
think
bought
we only
this
have
SM800.
two more books. So I'll go back to the beginning, do the full recap.
Let's do the last 2 books, and then we'll just go top to bottom.
All right, fair enough.
Good deal.
All right, next one is Draculina number 1, Christopher Priest signed Atlas edition. Suggested retail of $49.99, and we have one available for $19.69.
What does Atlas edition mean?
The Atlas means that it carries the Atlas trademark.
I love
right,
Atlas.
but is that a company? I don't.
It was.
Okay. That's
it
what
was.
I'm not
The Dynamite bought out.
And they sold, and they carried a book that the only downside for Nick obtaining Atlas comics is my endless whining about, did we get Planet of Vampires with it? Did we get Planet of Vampires with it?
I don't think that's what causes the whining. It just happens to be a topic of whining.
There's that too, but I'm telling you right now, maybe 2024, we're going to get Planet of Vampires, but it'll be Planet of Vampirella.
And by the way, Triple B, sorry, we had to reboot the computer, but I love Cyclops as well. I don't know why these haters are on the show. All right. So last up for the night is Barbarella number 8, Matabek, Musa Bekov, Virgin covers, just retail of $50, and we have one available for $40. I think that does it.
Lars may claim Draculina.
All right, Lars, man.
Man, I got to tell you right now, Draculina started, and I mentioned this, and I think people were like a little bit surprised. Draculina started a little bit slow, but I got to tell you, man, I'm envisioning like big things for Draculina.
Let me see. Marcus says, was that a rebrand based on the mid-70s Atlas line?
No, I mean, Atlas was a mid-70s line.
Yes.
Not to get too much into the behind-the-scenes business aspect of it, but Dynamite, of course, was there. Just simply bought it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many of their books will be, will see light of day again, because they weren't around for a long time and they didn't have everybody. If anyone remembers Atlas Comics at all, they remember, I think it's a Neil Adams cover, Planet of Vampires. And it was very trendy. It was very 70s sci-fi. It didn't last for a long time, but it was good for what it was. We've had a few other Atlas stuff. We've had Amy Chu had her Green Hornet was with Atlas Comics. Right. They've done a few things with Atlas Comics.
All right. I'm just looking something up real quick. Okay. So, you know what? Let's do the recap.
Did we get all the books? Are we done?
We are done. Yeah.
All right. I gotta reboot my end. So I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Okay. Sounds good. So we'll wait for Kyle to get back and we'll do the reboot. Let me see here.
Yeah, unfortunately, Library Kid wasn't with us tonight. I guess he's.
Yeah. I guess Dave had to work, or
he's got to work at some point. All the stuff he buys, he's got to pay for it somehow. I'll tell you though, anybody who's just looking for a fun 5 or 10 minute little Google read, go ahead and Google Atlas Comics from the time. Just a really neat story. I think they were maybe trying to pick up. We had Charlton. One of the things people were surprised about was, they tend to think
Peacemaker was a Charles.
Image
Charlton.
Is the first, but no, I mean,
Was
Image is the first successful ongoing alt brand at that level. But we had bunches of people that tried. Iron Jaw's another one, Stevie B. That's exactly right.
Right.
People were always trying to step out of that space, whether it was Charlton or Atlas Comics. Then we had that period in the 80s where you had Eclipse and Comico and Planet Comics. Probably. Oh, Adrian wants to know. Can you check?
Yeah,
if you have
I was going to let you finish. Yeah, Adrian, I will definitely look into that for you, buddy, and try to find out if we have it in a slab version.
My single favorite book that I have signed, and it was a miracle I got it signed, was Dave Stevens signed Airboy number 5 for me.
Wow.
Which is sort of like it's not in the best of condition, the book. I have better copies of it. Airboy 5 is one of those books where I must have 11 or 12 copies of it. I buy them different things. I've got it graded. I've got it this, that. But, Larsman, he's looking for Gru the Wanderer.
Gru the Wanderer.
That's
That's an interesting one. Okay.
I'm going to text Ken Hazer right now.
Ken would crush a Sergio.
Could you
Aragon
imagine?
style. He would. Oh, that would be perfect. Oh.
All right. I will find
Sergio's
out.
one of those
Larsman.
guys that's going to be hard to replicate, but Ken's just natural ability will crush it.
Oh, nice. Larsman has a couple Sergio Aragon sketches.
Ooh, that is cool.
That is cool.
All right. So, Kyle, you ready for the recap?
Let's
here?
do it.
All right, then. Here we go. So, starting with Dynamite 10-pack, 10 random Dynamite titles with a cover price of $3.99 or higher. So, it's just a retail of $40 or higher. As always, thank you to our viewers. We have it for $5, so 50 cents a copy. Venom Legacy, number 200, signed by Donny Cates. It's just a retail of $69.99. We have one for $49.99. The Walking Dead was claimed by Nico. We still have available Action Comics number 1000, Dynamic Forces exclusive wraparound variant cover, edition by Dan Jurgens, signed by Pete Tomasi.
Did you see Larsman claim 210?
Gotcha, Lars.
Sorry,
man.
I just wanted to.
Thank you. Lars man. Okay. 2 quantity. Gotcha. All right. So let's see. Signed by Pete Tomasi. It's just a retail of $80, and we have one available for $38.19.
Nico would also like a 10-pack.
All right, Nico. Gotcha, buddy. Then Star Wars Adventures Annual, signed by John Jackson Miller. Suggested retail of $69.99. We have one available for $29.99. Let's see. Lars Man claimed the Silver Surfer. Lars Man claimed Draculina. All right. So this was a best offer book. G.I. Joe number 1, signed in silver by Fred Van Lente. Nico is currently in the lead with a $15 offer. Symbiote Spider-Man was claimed by John Spilios. And then we have Uncanny X-Men, number 1, signed by Chris Bacalo with cover sketch art and signed by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99. And we have one available for $63. Then let's see. Then we did Wolverine, the best there is, number 1, with original hand-drawn Wolverine headshots by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99. It was a best offer book, and Lars Man is currently in the lead at $25. Then let's see. The Thor number 11 was claimed by Dwayne Zapane. And then Despicable Deadpool number 287, lenticular variant, CGC graded 9.8. John Spilios is currently in the lead at $75.
Hold on 1 second.
Yes, sir.
Things here. Nico Little Dragon wants a 10-pack.
I got that. Oh,
you got that?
I got that.
We have 10 minutes left on our offers. People
Yes.
who maybe aren't watching the chat. And Ken Hazer drawing Eclipso on a DC cover.
I don't think he's ever.
When you message him about the other thing, mention this too, because that would be
pretty cool.
Especially on a black blank variant. The other half is.
And then the Amazing Spider-Man was claimed by Lars Man. All right, and then we still have Red Sonja number 7, Lee Ricks Lee virgin cover. Suggested retail of $50. We have one available for $40.
Kyle's comment, that's probably like the best quick comment. They're always looking to summarize books. Yeah, this is Lone Wolf and Cub energy,
Right.
like for sure.
Then we had Barbarella number 8, Matabek Musabekov virgin cover, suggested retail of $50, and we have one available for $40. Then the DC Ultimate Heroes Mega Set, suggested retail of $260, and we have one available for $149.99. Includes Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow number 1, signed by Tom King. Superman number 1, signed by Brian Michael Bendis. Wonder Woman number 0, signed by Cliff Chang. And then Detective Comics number 1027, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8. And then finally, we had the Marvel Spotlight number 28, CGC 6.5. We have one available for $600, and I think I forgot who mentioned it, but it certainly is a very good looking 6.5.
Yeah, Kyle mentioned earlier that this is the type of thing. This is like a solid 6.5. I mean, I guess if someone were so inclined, we talked about this a little bit earlier,
right?
It could be pressed and, maybe regraded, for the right person. Well, thanks, Ronald. We, we do our best.
Well, I try to anyway. But always, Ron, thank you for supporting us. Ron has been a supporter of us, very loyal one, and we appreciate it. All of our viewers. I got to make this comment. I generally do. You guys make the show, the chats, the interaction. That's what really makes this as much fun as it is. Best part of my day is when I'm doing these shows with you guys, and John and Kyle producing, and Alec when he's here, and he'll be back next Wednesday.
We have Robbie on Mondays.
We have Robbie on Mondays. So
we have a new commercial debuting for the show very soon that we're putting together tomorrow.
Can't wait to see that. Cool.
That the legal department has said is legally not a Monty Python sketch.
Disclaimer. Flash.
Hey, give us a chance. We might be able to turn it into one. But I want to remind everybody that the show doesn't exist without our viewers out there. We appreciate the support. Hopefully, you're getting some great deals on some great comic collectibles that you're in the market for. And
that's
again,
why we try to be real brutally honest with people. We'll tell them, look, get this book now or pay more for it later. I mean, I know that it sounds like a sales pitch to a certain extent, but in some of these cases, it's a literal truth. And we've had books before where we've suggested, hey, to get this, and people didn't get it. And sure enough, I see the book at another store or something like that at a significantly higher price. And I'm not glad, you know what I mean? I don't want to see people pay more money. That's why I'm saying a lot of us who are part of the experience, retailers, spend a lot of time in stores, spend a lot of time, creeping around and, on different websites or whatever, looking at prices and stuff.
At publishers' offices.
I decided to jump ahead. I'm not, I have a local comic book store. Oh, I have a favorite website. No, I knocked literally on the front door and asked for more Green Hornet.
When they switched the facade on the outside of this complex, I tried to convince them not to make it glass.
You know what? I'm one Powerball win away from having like a Vegas-style neon sign flashing Dynamite Comics.
Gonna have to talk to the township about that one.
Not only that, but I've already.
You will have to give me the Google map on that barbecue joint you're talking about, because I've been going to what's the one in Cherry Hill, Famous Dave's, which is just a chain barbecue.
I think they're closed.
Did they close?
I think Famous Dave's closed. And I've said this before. I don't have anything against.
It was okay.
Famous Dave's.
I mean,
most Dave's locations are doing carry out only and catering.
Okay, I haven't been down that way because I found a new place. That one in Medford. What is it? It's also a
Mission
chain.
Barbecue.
No, I haven't been there yet. I want to try it, but that's another chain. No, it's the one in Medford. It's right on Route 70. We're across from the DMV. You know which one I'm talking about.
Not if that might. You sure it's not Mission Barbecue?
It's not Mission Barbecue.
Some places like Dickie's Barbecue Pit. One of those kind of fast food barbecue, fast casual places.
Barbecue is one of those things where I really sort of like to know who's doing the barbecue to go.
You know everybody that's doing
my favorite thing is to walk into a barbecue place.
Whole Hog Cafe.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Which is also what you.
My favorite thing is to walk into a barbecue place and ask for brisket point. And to ask for brisket point, and they go,
I don't know what that
slices is. We don't have anything that's pointed. And I go tell whoever smokes the meat I want brisket point.
All right, so Ron has a request. I will write this down, Ron, as well. Wrap around with a full figure. Okay.
I'd like to see a full figure CCA too. I actually like that idea. We're gonna have a long memo for Ken. Ken, give us a call. We need to have a call. Like Ken is someone else that doesn't have my number blocked.
But Wolverine 28. Let me see. Is that's got to be the. All right, so let me see. Nico Little Dragon. That was a best offer book. You're talking about the Hazer one. Lars Man is currently in the lead at 25. Just so you know. So
except that's a Wolverine #1.
Oh yeah, that's not 28. What's he?
Is he asking for a Wolverine 28?
Are you asking for a Wolverine 28? John, I'm working on it,
John,
buddy.
believe
That's
me,
the
man,
first
that's
thing on my
the
list.
top of our list.
Okay, gotcha, Nico.
He's looking for Wolverine 28. John, believe us, that is at the top of our want list, our wish list. We're looking for Punisher stuff.
That and the requests were that and oh, gotcha. Got it, Nico.
Oh, man.
All right, you're at 28.
Sorry, Nico.
You got to spell these things out, Nico. Look at us. The two of us, we're not that bright, man.
Oh, man, a Gunslinger Spawn full figure CCA.
All right,
Man,
Marsman,
I
you
would
were at 30 on the
would
Wolverine. I
would
got you.
not hate seeing that.
That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. And I got to write that down. Gunslinger Spawn.
All right.
Got it. So yeah. So Whole Hog Cafe is been my go-to as opposed to Famous Dave's. But they're all chains, really, aren't they? Whole Hog Cafe is also a franchise.
I think it's a smaller chain.
Yeah.
Right.
Famous Dave's, I realize
chains,
that.
We have one here called Dietz Barbecue, and it's like there's like 6 locations, but they're all here. Like there's just one in every suburb.
I got you.
Yeah.
So it's still a local business, local restaurant, but it's also
Nico. I'm just joking, buddy. No problem, buddy. I appreciate your work. You're watching us.
I always say barbecue is one of those things that are twofold, right? There's barbecue for the casual fan, and that's when you hit the place and downtown Disney, Polite Pig. Absolutely nothing wrong with that barbecue. It's a nice place. They kind of have the moonshine-esque cocktails, nice location. But I don't think anyone who's really knows barbecue would put Polite Pig in their top 10 or top 25 list.
So Stevie B says there was a Korean barbecue food truck outside my office that I used to love, almost worth coming out of retirement for. I got to tell you, some of the best barbecue I had was a food truck. It was actually at Laurel Acres. It was years ago. I remember my daughter was real small, and it was fantastic. And
Kimchi smoke?
No. It was just a regular barbecue food truck, and it had the, they had the ribs, and then they had the collard greens, and then potato salad. I mean, and it all came in this big styrofoam box. I mean, it was phenomenal. It was probably one of the best I had up to that point. So let me ask you, Mission Barbecue, what do you think? Another chain joint? Because I get my hair cut at the Sports Clips. That's right next to it.
You know what?
So it's always wafting in as I'm getting my hair cut.
For me, I like barbecue. I like different barbecues, right? If it's a little on the sweet side, a little on the spicy side, I really appreciate the Q Master's personal spin on it. I hate to say this, but things like Mission Barbecue, it just everything tastes the same to me. I get the impression that whoever's corporate guys were like, don't make it too spicy. Don't do this. Don't do that. Halbert has more experience with this with chain places than I do. Everything is flattened out, like the flavor is homogenized. I am not paying. If I want, and I say this with a certain amount of humility and certain not amount of humility, if I want average barbecue, that I can make myself. I don't have to leave the house for that. I go and I pay for barbecue because I want better stuff.
Right.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can smoke a brisket. I got seasonings or whatever, but
Yeah,
it's
not
never going to
everybody.
be more than 5
not
out of
everybody
10.
is you though. I mean, it's like I don't know how to smoke a brisket.
Here's the dirty little secret, right? Like to do what we do, it takes time and colossal stacks of spending money you could spend on other things.
Yeah, that's my point, Kyle. When I want barbecue, I just want to eat it.
You could go to Costco.
I don't want to have to go through all of that.
You could go to Costco and buy a Traeger smoker for a few $100 and put some. Well, no, and I'm saying put some salt and pepper on a brisket, and that Traeger does the work for you. Like they've made it
that
so
sounds like
simple.
a lot of work.
No, it'd be like putting a burger on the grill, right? You press the button, you say, I'm cooking a brisket.
Joining us as always.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. To me, it's. But I'm not like you guys in the sense that, I'm not at barbecue competitions. I'm not from the food industry. I'm a normal guy that will make dinner. I'll buy a ribeye or whatever, realizing that it's cheaper to cook it at home. Simple stuff like that. Make dinner when my daughter was growing up. But I'm not a chef by any stretch of the imagination. The reason I cook a lot of times is just because it's cheaper.
I have to
eat. I got to eat,
like
and
I
it's
said,
cheaper.
With some of these
but I find like when my
Traegers
daughter's not at home, I'm not cooking. It's a real pain to cook for one person a lot of times for me. You know, the thought of I got to clean, I got to wash the dishes.
The point Kyle's trying to make is what you pay for barbecue out. It's also cheaper to make it at home, and it's a little bit more of it's not better at first, but you can eventually get to the point where you're doing your own barbecue and you don't have to. I went to Mission, and my I'll tell you what my impression was, and I'm not trying to hammer them at all. I'm really not, but they're overpriced and overrated. And I think that in this part of the country, we don't have a barbecue tradition in this part of the country. We really don't. And I think people hear barbecue and they get all excited. So people are willing to pay more for something they don't have. And I'm like,
that could be, yeah. No, I see your point.
You know what? I will let you know where to go to my buddy Mom Paz.
This to me is a better solution. You give me the good barbecue joint within our neighborhood.
He's from Brownsville, Texas. He moved up. He came up here during Hurricane Sandy to help rebuild, and then he just stayed here because he was a barbecue hobbyist, and he realized most of the barbecue in New Jersey. You know how you always hear about Jersey barbecue? No, you never hear about Jersey barbecue. No, that's
true. That is true. Okay.
Nobody in the barbecue circuit ever said, ooh, there's guys from Princeton. I'm sweating that.
There's a scene.
And wait a minute. This is relevant to you, Kyle. I read it somewhere on the internet this last couple of days that the best pizza in the country is actually not in New York, not in Chicago, but in Ohio. Did you read this?
I have my own views on Chicago versus New York versus Ohio versus everywhere pizza. And that's if you can cook it on a barbecue smoker, it's better. But yeah, I read the article. I don't necessarily agree. I've been to that place. It's okay.
Well, Stevie B.
Thank you, Nico. Thank you, Stevie.
I'd rather get a slice from a buck on the street in New York any day.
Mm-hmm.
Than
but I thought of you when I read that article. I go, Ohio. I got to bring that up to Kyle.
I say this all the time. One of the best pizzas I ever had in my life was deep dish pizza. You know, being a Northeast guy, deep dish isn't our thing. It was made in a green egg type, Komodo cooker or whatever. Had some smoke on it. It was delicious. That was one of those things I ate to failure.
Lars, where I'm at, has more restaurants per capita than people.
That kind of makes sense.
See,
I remember I used to do a convention in Cleveland every other year, and I remember there was never a shortage of places.
Right, we get everything before everybody else because we're a great test market.
That's it. That kind of makes sense. That's interesting. But I remember that was the one thing about that convention in Cleveland. We ate somewhere different almost every night after the convention floor closed. I want to thank everybody again for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Kyle.
Nick will be back on The Experience on Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. with his original art show.
Do we have somebody next on this channel?
Do we have anybody next?
At 9 o'clock, there's Wednesday Warriors show.
Gotcha. So stay tuned for that. And then John and I will be back on Monday night from 6 to 8 with Rock and Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers. And then we'll be back here again with Alec next Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern.
Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great night.